What's the pettiest reason you won't date someone over? Story 1. I broke up with a girl because she spelled a word so incorrectly that I couldn't look at her the same any longer, and it ruined how I felt about her. We were texting each other during the day about the plans we had to go out for the night, and it went something like this. Me: "Hey, are we still on for tonight?" Her: "Yes, I'm excited. Do you need me to bring anything?" Me: "No, I have everything we'll need. Don't worry about it." Her: "Okay, cool. I've already picked out my outfit." Me: "Your what?" Her: "My outfit. For tonight. I tried to pick something you'd like." She was trying to say outfit. 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 I know it's petty, but I just honestly got so weirded out, and it sincerely changed my opinion and view of her enough to the point where I just couldn't stop thinking about it whenever we were together. We were only together for about 3 months, which isn't any less douchey of me, but yeah. I did the same with a guy who texted "we minus well" instead of "might as well." It wasn't the only reason I broke it off, but her spelling was so bad. On the down low equals the download. It's supposed. It's a post. Whether or not. Whether or not. I couldn't do that badly if I tried. I once briefly saw a guy who was horrible at spelling, blamed it on spell check, but I don't think that was the case. Anyway, the one word that bothered me the most was notice. He would spell it notice. It drove me nuts. Alright, that's fine. You're allowed to break things off for whatever reason you want. Honestly, I'm pretty sure someone dodged a bullet here. I'm just not sure it was the people writing this. Story 2. There was one who told me that I was cutting green peppers the wrong way. I was doing it the way Gordon Ramsay does it, but with fewer steps. He cuts the entire top off, then the entire bottom, while I cut a side off, then another side so it trims closer to the stem while keeping the core intact, so you don't have to pick seeds out of it. What she didn't like was the fact that I cut long strips from the sides, then rotated them and diced them. I was making my own recipe that requires pieces of a specific size. I let her cut a pepper just to see what she thought was right, and she more or less butchered the entire thing. We went our separate ways a week later. This one is actually hilarious to me. Of all the petty things to choose from, you both went with, "This mother can't cut a effing bell pepper." It's like next level pettiness from both of you. But for a real laugh, glad you got rid of her. She obviously couldn't cut it. She also didn't think dinosaurs ever existed. I cut my peppers your way, less wasteful. Story 3. He once came with his eyes open and crossed. Just really freaked me out. I can never get the picture out of his face out of my mind after that. Gonna use that for next time. That's so damn funny, though it's petty. I can't imagine not being able to get that out of my head during the do. Oh God, I hear ya. Had an ex who I really liked, but her face when she came made me so uncomfortable. Her face always got so red, her neck bulged, mouth open. I've seen people die in movies with the exact same face. The worst part was, she absolutely insisted on unflinching eye contact whenever she came. Like she would grab my head if her hands were free and hold my face in front of hers. Witness me! Now I'm uncomfortable. Just from behind. Oh, that sounds awful. What is her number? Hey, at least it beats that stupid ahigao face that's become popular. I would gladly take that woman's unflinching, intense Dragon Ball Z charging up gasm before seeing that stupidly fake tongue hanging out of the mouth nonsense. Go ahead, cry in the comments. Show the rest of us who you are. I'm messing around. Like what you like, no need to judge harshly. Story 4. I broke up with a guy because he ate all of my corn dogs. I was working a 12-hour shift. He refused to get a job, and all through my shift, I was just excited that I could go home and eat a corn dog. That mother effer and his friends ate all 24 corn dogs within the 12 hours while I was working. They'd previously done this with my DiGiorno's and lunch meat. But this was on another level. Don't mess with my corn dogs. Over corn dogs? I would have broken it off over not getting a job. I was young with self-esteem issues. Looking back, I should have left him long before the corn dogs. No regrets, though. My mom still refers to it as the corn dog incident, LOL. You didn't break up with him because of corn dogs. You broke up with him because he was a worthless moocher who invited his friends on the free from Tigrovna train. Story 5. Overly active on social media. I was in a hotel with my ex and we were brunching, and the brunch was very expensive, but it was all you can eat. As we finished, she stood up and got the most delicious food from the buffet again, even a French toast specially cooked for her with chocolate on it. Then she got coffee and orange juice, a few chopped fruits, and took a photo of it to post on Snapchat and Instagram. Then she stood up and said she was ready to go. I couldn't believe it. What did you say to her? Guessing you are an Instagram husband. that eye twitch. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't feel like that one is that petty. Something like that really speaks about a person's priorities and wastefulness. Like, I would encourage talking to her and trying to understand and all first, and not basing breaking up just on that, but that would be a big red flag for me. Story 6. Went on a date to Buffalo Wild Wings. She ordered 20 wings. She ate maybe 7 of them. When it came time to pay, she didn't offer. I was gladly going to pay, nor did she want a doggy bag. Seeing all of that food go to waste was the deal breaker. It might seem petty to most people, but I think it says a lot about a person who is so willingly wasteful. Spoiled and selfish, in my honest opinion. Agreed, it wouldn't have bothered me if she said anything about it, but when I asked if she wanted a box, her exact response was, nah. Story 7. She would constantly try to finish my sentences for me, sometimes not even sentences, but words. For example, me. So I was eating a BLT which? It was infuriating. We finish each other's sandwiches. We even finish each other's sentences. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It actually never happens. See, we're so in sync, it's like I'm in your head. Story 8. This girl was beautiful, driven, intelligent. We got along well. She was perfect, except that she would snap her fingers whenever someone would say something she liked. Every conversation peppered with snaps. She'd do it instead of applauding at concerts, too. Eventually, I realized that this couldn't be my life. Reddit writes Seinfeld. The whole thread, really. I was like, that's not that bad, until the snaps instead of applause. Yeah, that noise. Why are people so against snaps? Do you all hate beatniks? I love snapping! Also, clapping can be hard for certain people with auditory sensitivity, and I believe some folks on the autism spectrum, so it can just be more respectful of others. I'm not saying clapping is bad, or people who clap should feel bad, but why judge someone who snaps? Story 9. I once started texting a guy from Tinder who seemed okay at first. He was quite good looking, he definitely took care of himself. Every time he'd pop up on text to say hi, he'd send a selfie of himself along with it. At first I replied, oh, haha, did you mean to send that? And he said, yes, like what you see? So I kind of uncomfortably said, yeah, he's good looking. Then it happened like 2 or 3 times again, so I just stopped texting him. Was his name Gaston? No one posts selfies like Gaston. 'Cause she texted like this. I hated when this was a thing. I also used to know a girl who texted like this, and it really made me so angry, though it's nowhere near as bad as yours. Why would anyone ever text like that? This actually used to be a thing 15 plus years ago, particularly popular with Asian girls, though some guys typed like this too on chat programs, MSN, AOL, AIM. I think they thought it made them seem cute. Story 11. If a girl has large gums, honestly it's the most unattractive feature to me and I just can't look past it. Whole tooth-to-gum ratio can't be off. I'm sadly one of those, and you're not the only one who hates it. I've spent years only half smiling thanks to it. Ugh. My boyfriend is like this, but he still laughs and smiles without restraint, and it just makes everything brighter. Please do not be too conscious about it. I think features that people think are flaws only become that when they think too much about it. Smile and be bright. Yeah, to this last comment, folks, confidence and happiness are one of the biggest influences over attractiveness. Also, just because some complete dorks don't like how you look doesn't mean someone out there will love how you look, and frankly, goobers who don't are just saving you time because dating them would have sucked. Story 12. He had bad breath. I dated a girl for a while whose breath always seemed a little off. I told her about it, and she had been oblivious to it the whole time. After her initial reaction of being mortified, she went and saw a specialist. Turns out she had a few nasal polyps that could have turned really nasty. You never know. A good example of why it's important to break the taboo of not telling people about uncomfortable physical problems they might not be aware of. Story 13. If the neck hole on his shirt is too wide. Just curious, how wide is too wide? Wizard sleeve width. Honestly, this is probably the most petty thing in this thread. Majority of these comments are semi-valid, but this? What the hell? Can I get some reasoning or a story? LOL. I imagine it's thinking about the long-term plan. If his head is that big, what would it be like giving birth to his children? Story 14. I know a girl who won't date a person if they're born during a certain month. Something to do with scorpions and aquariums. Oh God, not the astrologists. Not the astrologists! Ah! I would never date astrologist. I dated a girl like this. She used to say, oh, typical insert star sign to people. I think she told me mine was a library, but I didn't listen much. I have no problem if someone wants to believe in astrology, even when I absolutely do not even a little. However, I can see how it can be a hurdle in a relationship. I dated someone with beliefs adjacent to that, and it was tough. Beliefs not lining up can be a problem, so I get it. Story 15. Littering. When I was like 19, I was driving around with my boyfriend at the time, and we had a snack in the car, and afterwards, not really thinking about it, I unrolled the window and threw out the wrapper. He got so mad. He had one of those tones that your mom gets when she is angry but doesn't want to yell and starts chastising me about littering. I was pretty embarrassed and never threw my trash out like that again. Sometimes it really does take someone to call you out on your for there to be a change. Littering and... Story 16. Had a friend try and date this girl. He said he was going to Canada for a wedding. Her response? I wouldn't want to go because I'd have to learn Chinese. He said that he blankly stared at her and finished his meal. A girl I took on a coffee date told me that Peru isn't a real country. I was telling her how I had just gotten back from a trip with some friends there. Peru isn't a country, it's not real, I would know. I laughed a little bit, cried on the inside, said I have to leave, and walked away. Was the wedding in the Vancouver area? Story 17. We'll probably die in all these comments, but in middle school I broke up with a girl because she erased my Pokemon save file. I'm 28 and still see that as a legit reason you don't f with save files, especially when there's an old event Pokemon on them. That's a perfectly valid reason. I punched my sister because she hacked our copy of Pokemon Gold with all the legendaries or some crap, but it ended up breaking it to where it wouldn't save. Story 18. I'm not thrilled with people who are video game purists / shun casual gamers, me. I don't mind if you're really into video games or play them more often or more seriously than I do, but it's just obnoxious when they brag about it and treat me as though I'm lesser because I prefer some light Mario over Dark Souls. If you haven't unlocked all the characters in Mario Party 7, you're just not worth my time. I really don't see how this is a thing with people. I play Elden Rings and I want to be the guy, but my friends, who mostly just like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley, are gamers too. If you feel that gamer is some sacred title only for the worthy, what even are your priorities in life? Story 19. I went on a couple of dates with a guy who was so afraid of fish touching his legs that he refused to get in any water other than a chlorinated pool. Probably not a deal breaker for most people, but I'm an aquatic ecologist and my job at the time, right out of college, was to organize stream cleanup events. I couldn't see myself dating someone who was afraid of fish. I have an irrational fear of fish. They fascinate me and I love looking at them, but put me in water and I flip out. Funnily enough, it doesn't apply to sharks. Goldfish? Terrifying. Sharks? Story 20. She got into an argument with my brother, who is about to graduate to become a computer engineer, about how the desktop is only the monitor and that the tower wasn't part of the desktop at all. She would also say that the laptop had a foldable desktop. Oh Christ, she was a nightmare anyway. Wow. Also, to extend on this, I tend to generally dislike people that try to argue on a subject they know next to nothing about. Story 21. She smelled. Not terrible, but there was a distinct smell when you were close to her. I couldn't stand it after 2 weeks. Bye-bye. I had a boyfriend in high school like this. He smelled vaguely of broccoli or onions or something. I could never quite put my finger on it. My best friend dated him not long after I broke up with him, and she confirmed the odd smell. I actually work as a grocer, and I've really struggled with the smell. I can't smell it myself, but people say I smell like a microwaved fart. Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks, but that's a funny description. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day. Story 22. Today I learned I am undateable. Today. Yikes, we've known for a while. Broke up with a girl after a week because she constantly talked about being British and saying every other sentence in a British accent. She was born in Kentucky. Teaboo. Is teaboo a real thing, or did you just make that up? Because I like it. Gonna add that word to my vocabulary. I don't consider this petty. That is annoying as hell. Story 23. If she idolizes the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship. I watched Suicide Squad, and now I know all about Harley and Joker. Such romance. They literally cut out a scene of him smacking her because they thought it would be too much. I wish they had kept it in for this reason. They are the villains for a reason. I'm a teacher, and some of my female students do this. Teens' supernatural romances have romanticized abuse for too long. Story 24. He tucked his sweater into his jeans. Well, that's reasonable. Most people don't want to date a serial killer. There comes a time in life when a man must decide, am I a tucker or not? Each must decide for himself, but me? I chose not tucking, for I am no serial killer. Untucks jumper from jeans. Gross. Some shirts can be tucked, and some shirts cannot. Sweaters should never be tucked. They are not tuckable. Untuck that big warm boy. Story 25. If they can't handle their liquor yet continue to drink anyway. I hate the idea of being with someone after a drink or two they turn into a goram child. I definitely went on a date once where I drank too much and I just sat motionlessly in the corner while my date played beer pong, and he came and asked me if I was okay, and I just said, "Just trying not to move." Well, that might be a bad date etiquette. You do sound like someone I'd hang out with. Story 26. Long fingernails on a guy. I just can't handle it. The idea of letting someone touch me with those things makes me gag. Same. Had a guy accidentally scrape the sharp edge of his nail against my clit once, and I now refuse to let any guy with nail overhang touch me. Horrible. My clit literally bled for like 10 minutes and it hurt to walk for over a week. I almost went to the hospital. Trim your effing nails, people. Story 27. A Japanese girl, I'm Swedish. She believed in Santa, spent Christmas in Sweden, and cried when she finally met him. I also broke up with a girl because of her belief in Santa Claus. In this case, however, she was a 20-year-old white girl in Oklahoma who was in college to become a teacher. Story 28. Seinfeld has the pettiest reasons for not dating people. For having man hands, for eating peas 1 pea at a time, for wearing the same dress every day, for being a low talker, for shh-ing during a TV show, for saying, "That's funny," instead of laughing. That's so funny. Oh, my pettiness is showing. I need a laugher. I need to laugh with my partner. If they don't laugh and just say, "That's funny," I will always be so anxious that they are lying. I feel anxious just considering the idea. But I'm petty too. Story 29. Having the same name as my mother. Her name is Tamara. She goes by Tammy. What's your point? She's here. Not petty at all. You don't want to be moaning your mother's name. Story 30. I have refused to date 2 girls because I didn't like their voices. Like, they were just a little bit nasal and one was a little croaky too. In retrospect, it's actually because I was just looking for an excuse because I was super anxious. They were nice. Like Janice. Ah! That's my best Janice from Friends laugh. I used to watch a lot of Friends, folks. That's a good petty reason for someone to not want to date me. Story 31. On our first date, which was a nice hike, she kept going out of her way to step on bugs she deemed offensive, like spiders and fire ants. I don't like them either, but they're just chilling out on the path doing normal bug things. You don't need to kill them for no reason, you... Story 32. I broke up with a girl because I just didn't feel a connection, which actually means I couldn't stand reading her texts. Her spelling and grammar demonstrated functional illiteracy. I'm not a stickler for college thesis-level grammar or anything, but you should be able to spell 4- and 5-letter words. Story 33. If she refers to herself as a princess, that is not petty, that is a red flag. Rip my engaged brother. His significant other calls herself princess and keeps a tiara by her bed. Story 34. If you drag your feet everywhere you go every day of your life, I probably won't like you. I'm looking at you, all of my coworkers. Stop complaining about having to get new boots every month. Just pick up your feet. Story 35. He kept saying, "I seen," in this pompous voice that seemed to suggest he was using correct grammar. That got old quickly. I seen it. I seen it with my eyes. Story 36. I broke up with a guy because the way he ate salad made me uncomfortable. He was pretty much attacking it, chewing with a lot of fervor and watching me while he ate. Just giving you a taste of what he would do to your lettuce. Let me tell you, I've never had someone complain about the way I handle a salad. No chewing, though, perhaps a little light nibbling. I find eye contact, if you can manage it, can be appreciated. I wonder how many people closed the video because of that. I wonder how many subscribed because of it. Story 37. She was just obsessed with celebrity news. Like, no, I don't care that The Weeknd and Selena are dating. The Weeknd and Selena are dating? Why didn't any of you jagweeds tell me? Story 38. A person who uses speakerphone in a room filled with people or on the bus. Those are nightmare people. Or blasts music/YouTube videos. Like, seriously, your phone came with headphones. That is rude. Story 39. My friend broke up with someone because she thought one of those low-budget mid-2000s computer animations on the Discovery Channel showing how some cells do things or how some building is constructed was actual real footage and was puzzled at how they filmed it. Story 40. Anyone who claims to be super intelligent but uses that to be pretentious or condescending. Sounds like 80% of this site. Glad I'm in the other 19%. Story 41. As a redhead, I can't bring myself to date other redheads. I'm constantly worried that people would think we're related, or that we're trying to save the redhead gene. Story 42. A girl asked me if I believe in dinosaurs. She thought Satan put them here to test us. I'm just glad she dropped that bomb on the third date. Now I'm married to a woman that accepts dinosaurs. I love that the way this is written implies that she believed Satan put the dinosaurs there and not the fossils as some kind of trick. Like Satan was like, well, well, God, go ahead. Put humans on this planet. I have filled it with dinosaurs who will eat all of your people. Checkmate. Story 43. Purposely leaving your popcorn, soda wrappers, etc. all over the place after a movie because people are paid to clean it. This happened about a month ago. Story 44. My best friend broke up with a smoking hot blonde after 1 week because her nose whistled while she breathed. Still dumbfounded by the decision. Story 45. Who's your favorite artist? Pitbull. Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. Story 46. Chewing your food with your mouth open. Instant no-go. Walking out of a date once, the girl was chewing like a goddamn barn animal. She was also being a horrible to our server. Story 47. Treating minimum wage workers like I once went on a movie date with a boy who threw his leftover popcorn and refused to pick it up because it's their job to take care of it. The people posting the takes like this are wrong. I'm sorry, I mean to say they're wrong for posting it here because it is absolutely not petty and they are completely justified in not wanting to see that person again. Story 48. I don't know about you, but I draw the line when she says, I'm gay, I don't want to be with you any longer, and promptly moves in with another woman. Story 49. She was a knockout and was interested in me, but she did this weird makeup on her eyebrows that made them look 1.5 inches thick, so I said no. Story 50. Happy Valentine's Day. No. Story 51. She told me that The Crystal Skull #4 was her favorite Indiana Jones movie. Story 52. They can't fix their, your, and your typo. Story 53. They don't use turn signals. It's not even about safety. It's about respect. Story 54. When she said, I don't do computers. Story 55. She uses an Internet Explorer out of choice. Story 56. Same name as an ex or family member. Story 57. Choose with their mouth open. Wow, we really got back into being petty with these last many. I take it back. I'm sorry, people who posted legitimate issues with people. Please come back. Story 58. The pickup line, you look like fun. Yes, like that. Story 59. They use caps lock instead of shift. Story 60. Table manners. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.